What you doing? I'm Daisy and this is Otaku News Reviews! This time I am reviewing Asadora Volume 2 by Naoki Urasawa. I already did a review for the first one, so as much as I, one, love Urasawa's manga, I also really liked the first volume, so I had to do a review for the second volume too. The series originally started in Shogaku-kun's weekly Big Comic Spirits in October 2018. The first English volume was released in January 19, 2021, with the second volume, this one, released on April 20th, 2021. Finally got around to reviewing it. Now, let me go a bit over a non-spoiler review, because I do want to get into more of a, not so much an analysis, but a little bit of a discussion later. But as far as a spoil-free goes, this one really dives into the mystery behind the monster, that thing, whatever it was that Asa and Kasuga saw the giant footprint of. It opens up with the scientist Professor Yodogawa and Mr. Nakaido in some jungle trying to look for something, some kind of clue, and it turns out to be some slash marks that they were eventually led to by some very terrified resident, local person nearby, and all he can say is, Asa. What does that mean? What? Asa? Like Asa? Dora? It makes sense, coming from my very limited knowledge of Japanese, but the only other title of a anime at least, that I know of is Toradora, and the door, I'm pretty sure, and that is to refer to a dragon. So is this something to do with Asa, the main character, and a dragon being the door? I don't know, because it's still a mystery. We don't really get to see much through this, even though it does pretty much immediately show you this is what this manga is probably going to be about. This thing that some kind of monster maybe has something to do with Asa. Who knows? This is definitely in a past. Maybe it's going on at the same time as where the story is. But eventually we do get to see a little bit later where at least Mr. Nakaido pops up again at the end. But as far as what Asa and Kasuga are doing, they're still going out just trying to get some supplies to people. Asa's trying to look for her family. And they're just trying to be helpful in any way they can. This is kind of just carrying over for what happened in the beginning. And then we realized there's a little bit of a time jump right after this. This whole first volume, beginning of the second volume, it's kind of just a setup to what the main story is actually going to be. We get to see Asa fly a bit, and so it's going to have something revolving around planes. It's going to revolve around, of course, Asa, and the mystery behind this monster. And this is what the second volume is really doing well. Is it showed us who these characters are going to be, what their background, how they met, and now the story finally begins in like the end of this volume. So where is it going to go? I don't know. It's only showed us a little bit so far, so we're going to have to wait for the third volume. But it is a great setup, and I am expecting a lot. The way Urasawa is introducing these characters and already using them, just because I read other stuff, I can expect a lot from these characters, even they haven't done too much yet. They've shown Shota a little bit too, and it seems like he's just going to be the childhood friend of Asa, maybe a love interest, who knows. He's still training to run in Olympics, but he hasn't done much yet. So yeah, it's just a lot of setup for the actual story to begin and figuring out what this monster thing is going to be. Now, let's actually go a little bit more in depth into what's actually going on. So I already talked about the beginning. That's pretty much all it is these two scientists just roaming through the jungle. They find the scratch marks. The scared villager says, Asa, that's it. Cuts back. Asa, Kasuga still trying to deliver rice. The footprint apparently was on top of Asa's house. That's sad. So what we eventually realize is Asa pretty much lost most of her big family. But I mean, I was going to say that's okay, but it's sad for her. You don't really see that big of an emotional thing, or there's not too much emotion from Asa. Maybe she's busy, maybe she's just trying to get what's done. But yeah, there's not really much sadness to it. She did realize her youngest sibling is born. The doctor and two of her other siblings made it out. So Yeah, that's fine. The big drama that actually takes place with most of this is we realize Kasuga got shot. And we realize the reason that is because the person he stole the plane from had a giant bag of powdered milk in it. We're going to say powdered milk. They never actually say exactly what it is. Let's stick with powdered milk. We know what it is, though, you know? So yeah, he ended up getting shot and he starts losing consciousness a bit. His hand starts going numb. His other hand's going a bit numb because Asa bit him in the first volume. And eventually Asa has to take over. It is interesting that Kinuyo does realize something's up with Kasuga. And we do get a little bit of a backstory about kind of how Kasuga and Kinuyo kind of got acquainted, I guess. It was brief. Kind of one of those things that just Kasuga, maybe he's going to die, kind of just thinking back to moments in his life, all that kind of stuff. But the big moment and really sets it up for what's going to happen in the future is Asa eventually learning how to fly the plane and falling in love with it. And something else we forgot about, it was Asa's birthday. So plane is potentially a birthday gift to her. Wild though that a little child is driving a plane and we're like, okay, happy birthday, here's a plane that I stole. And yeah, it's kind of funny. And then all the drama's not done yet. While all this is still going on, she eventually lands the plane. Kasuga gets some help. And then they somehow hatch a little plan on how Asa's going to claim actual ownership of this plane. It's wild for it to think a child does all this. It goes back to the person they took the plane from, with a bag she says is full of the powdered milk, and pretty much has a little standoff. The guy even threatens to shoot her, but then weirdly, and quite a big surprise, the police officer, who seems like he was just going to be kind of a derp this whole time, just around, he actually shows up and actually pulls some big moves. Kinuyo shows up too and pulls the big moves too, so that's pretty cool. But the guy kind of just gives up. I don't know if he knows because he got busted, because the police said there were more police out. Did the police have a name? I don't remember. It must have not been that important. I didn't think anything of him until this moment. This was his only good moment. And I feel like he's probably going to show up again. Another thing Urasawa does is these characters you think are just, they're here now, probably never again. I feel like he does pretty well with them popping up again, and these small characters end up becoming pretty important. So, plan on seeing the police guy again. But yeah, I don't know why the guy so easily just gave her the plane. I mean, it's cool that he does that. But yeah, this child has a plane now. And then there's a time skip to 1964. Asa's older now. Her and Kasuga are running some kind of airplane business. I think they fly around with advertisements, or they, put on show. Asa's the one mainly flying now, learning a lot of cool stuff. Kasuga, I guess, is the manager, mainly doing all the business side of it. And we get to see, I guess, the next step of where the story's going to go. One of Kasuga's old military officers, commanders, can't remember the actual rank of the person, shows up, gives Kasuga information, wants to meet with him about something. And then we get to go see where Asa is living. She and a few of her other siblings are living with Kinuyo. I guess Kinuyo is taking like the mother role now. I'm assuming they're living with her. That's what it seemed like. Asa is also kind of the other older sister, of course. She's the oldest now, right? I guess so. I don't remember if it ever shows any of her oldest siblings or what they were doing. It makes it seem like Asa's the oldest one now, unless I miss something. But anyways, we don't get to see anything else to show it to, so that's going to have to come back some other time in another round. We don't see the police officer again yet. But Kinuyo, I guess Asa's working also part-time for her. And then the officer, military guy, meets with Kasuga. While Asa is bringing him food, she sees that the picture of the thing, pretty much the exact same scene, that Asa and Kasuga saw, almost like it was a panel from a manga they're seeing. It's exactly the same. There might be some difference. It seems the same to me in my memory while I'm thinking back on it. And Asa realizes this. That's kind of all that's happening. She's told to go away, but now we know, other people know, something's going to go on. Kasuga, and I assume Asa is going to have to go do something about this too for some reason. Probably just Kasuga, but honestly, Asa's going to want to tag along with this too. But now Asa's wanting to do some research, trying to figure out what this is. I guess they kind of just forgot it for a while. You think they would want to do more research in the years in between? Whatever. Asa ends up at a museum? Or was it aquarium? She ends up somewhere, I'm going to say museum. Runs into Mr. Nikaido, one of the scientists, the kind of one who was more iffy about what they were doing in the beginning. Knocks some papers over, and that's where the volume ends. Oh man, the mystery of what's going to happen. Oh, I'm getting so into this. So luckily we do not have to wait too long because the third volume actually just came out on August 17th, 2021. Woo! I already ordered it. It still hasn't shipped it, so it's taking long. But anyways, I can't wait to see where this goes. I guess I'm just really excited to see what else Urasawa is. There's other stuff of his that I haven't read yet, so I need to go back and read all those too. But if it turns out to be anything like 20th Century Boys or Monster, two of my favorite, probably his two most popular anyways, it's going to be a wild ride. I'm so excited for this. But let me know what you thought. If you're enjoying this series so far, what you're expecting to happen, what you think this big monster is. Also, if you know what these flaps are, I just realized, I was thinking about this before I started recording, the flaps, maybe it has something to do with the fact that it's airplanes. I don't know. I still haven't seen anything else with flaps like these, so I really want to know what they are. If you know, let me know. But yeah. You know, let's talk more about Asadora and where it's going to go. You can make all kinds of wild predictions where you're going to think. I'm sure what Urasawa's going to do is going to be terrific too. But yeah, let's just chat about it. But that's going to be it for this Otaku News Reviews. Leave comments. If you like it, go ahead and like it. If you want to see more of my reviews, go ahead and subscribe. You can see why I do all that. But until next time, I'm DAC. Thank you so much, and bye.